Hello everybody, here we are again. This is Tropical Vibes 305 and today we are going to dive into a video game called September 1999. Okay, so the first couple of things that you realize within this game is the VHS quality of the game itself that it presents. The eerie sounds, the sudden tappings, knockings, and even voices at times. This game itself is pretty spooky when you're playing in the nighttime, though you gotta also know that this is a 5-minute game. But even though that it is a 5-minute game, it kind of gives out a pretty intense story in a sense. A story that you guys, well, that we all get to piece together and theorize more than anything. And one thing that the developers seem to like is parakeets. From the looks of things within the game, as you go through different types of days within September 1999, is the bodies, one body or two. I can't really show the gore side of things, unfortunately, but yeah, it can get pretty gruesome. So if you really want to see it, I recommend just playing the game itself. Check it out. I recommend it at nighttime, like I said, because it's actually more fun that way. Because it's supposed to be a horror, a thriller. And after all the voices and whatnot, at the end of this game, you start to not be able to move. You get to hear what seems to be a chainsaw. So the main protagonist of this game itself could possibly be the killer, or it could possibly be the victim. And I don't know, something about this whole game itself just shows that even though it's a 5-minute video game on Steam, it's actually pretty well made. And quite honestly, I'm pretty happy to try this game out. Now, why was this game made? Was there any reviews? Well, there's a lot of reviews and a lot of people theorizing in the Steam section. Not sure about anywhere else, but I have read of an interview. So I found this website called BladeDiscussing.com where they interviewed 98demake about how the game, the photorealism and whatnot. And what really caught my attention is how he basically thinks on what makes a video game, which I kind of agree with 100%. So this is basically what he says. Alright, so basically how when this question was asked to 98demake about how the reviewers were complaining about the game is not really a game and how it kind of deviates from the norm of the game, I kind of like how 98demake kind of made this statement. So this is basically 98demake's response. I of course knew this conversation would come up, just like it does with every walking simulator out there, but it's still stupid conversation we probably shouldn't need to be having anymore, which I kind of agree on that. People are accustomed to games working in a certain way, being interactive, and most importantly fun to classify as a game. There of course needs to be a certain degree of interactivity, but that doesn't mean having a gun, objectives, or collecting whatever it is you're collecting. Games also doesn't need to be fun at all. If a movie isn't fun, nobody's screaming, "This isn't a movie." Yet it's a conversation that pops up all the time in video games. If experimental games aren't your cup of tea, that is completely fine. And quite honestly, that's something I quite kind of agree with, because I mean, look at the game's Outlast. Outlast is basically the same concept as September 1999. You're roaming around with a camera. The only difference is that it is longer, kind of like a movie. You have your own decisions and you got your own strategies and puzzle solving skills within the game. You go on ahead trying to figure out ways to progress through the story. Now, September 99, it's the same thing. In order to progress to the story, you gotta go through a door. But as you keep going through a door and the time itself shifts us to a different day, you are met with more puzzling things to, like, in a sense of like puzzling what's going on together. Like, is the main character that is holding the camera the killer, or is he more of like the victim? And that's something that we are left as a mystery. Pretty productive way of like creating the game itself. I personally enjoyed it, but here's the thing. Now, that being said, what if I tell you that there was a second game that had came out right before September 99 came out? That's right, we're talking about OK/Normal, which is on Steam right now, and it's on sale, so I don't see why
So
we should
basically
give it a
here,
shot.
the
I
developer
said the player should expect
so
something very similar to September 1999. Still has that
but
PS1
bigger,
graphics,
better,
but more fleshed
and
out.
what seems to be
So
just
stay
as
tuned.
a horror game
as September
according to him.
99.
So there may be
Now
newer
that being
game
said,
coming
there
out,
is
right?
a brand new game
So
that's
the
going to be
trailer of
released
this newer
according
game
to
that was
what it
released
says
was
here in the
called
article of the
December
interview.
2000.
Now, I'm not really going to go through the whole entire trailer. The trailer itself is pretty short, but I think I'm just going to make it a little shorter. Just, if you want to see the full trailer itself, I will make sure the link is under the description. And it's under the channel 98demake, the one that created.
So exploring over
98demake
channel, I start to
OK
realize that
Normal.
he hasn't really been posting as much for over a year now, or hardly posts overall.
But he does make his own little hobbies of postings, and quite honestly, his videos are pretty dope. I recommend giving it a shot, watching it. But that's just the thing. It's no update of December 2000. And so I digged a little deeper and started to look for his Twitter, but I couldn't find his Twitter since it doesn't exist anymore. So that's another issue for me. Well, I guess an issue for all of us. I mean, his account was gone, doesn't exist no more on Twitter, which kind of sucks, but hopefully he does make a comeback, because quite honestly, people like him, amazing game developers. The creepy feeling, the PS1 graphics, I feel like I'm actually playing on the actual PlayStation 1 again. The nostalgia feel is just there. If he ever does make a comeback for December 2000, I'm sure it's going to be epic. Well, that's basically all I wanted to talk about of this video. So, yeah, you guys take care. Dale.